artists. So coming up in hour 3, we have Rabbi Raysh Weiss, possibly joined by a family member. We'll see what happens in a moment. After them will be Alejandra Czarny with at least two songs. One of them is a new song from March of this year that she just wrote. The lyrics are by Moshe Rosenfeld, and she wrote the music, and it's about the plague, which is very topical for Lag BaOmer. And then at 3:30 p.m., the aforementioned Leah Kalisch with the Payas is going to join us with Rabbi Tobias Moss for Omar Rabbi Akiva. At 3:35 p.m., Eleanor Biezunski of Brooklyn will be playing some Klezmer melodies and singing Yiddish songs. And rounding out the hour at 3:50, Ilana Cravitz joins us from the UK with some Klezmer tunes. So we are a multi-country, multi-participant hour that we have for you from 3 till 4 p.m. And without further ado, I turn you over to Rabbi Raysh Weiss.
Hey everybody, happy Lag BaOmer. I am joined by our house band here.
This is Ariana Zelda Weiss Rank,
the most important character. And we have here on the floor on Sidor and on drums, we have Meital Hadara Weiss Rank in her debut performance. And also we have my significantly better half, Rabbi Jonah Rank, on guitar. And we're gonna start off our celebration here. Yeah, Meital. We're gonna start off our celebration with a traditional song that you've probably heard already, but and we're gonna segue into the famous Bar Yochai song. Here, ready? All right, that was the count off. All right, good.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Bar Yochai, Nesta Hashracha, Shemin Sason, Mechaverecha, Bar Yochai, Nimshachta Ashrecha, Sason Vesene, Mechaverecha, Bar Yochai, Shemin Mishchat Kodesh, Nimshachta, Melidat Kodesh, Nimshachta, Melidat Kodesh, Nasadat Sitz Neder HaKodesh, Avodarosh Zechaverecha, Bar Yochai, Nimshachta Ashrecha, Shemin Sason Mechaverecha, Bar Yochai, Nimshachta Ashrecha, Shemin Sason Mechaverecha, Bar Yochai, Moshav Tov Yeshavta, Yom Nasata, Yom Asher Barata, Ben Marad, Surim She'amarata, Kahanita Hodecha Ba'adarecha, Bar Yochai, Atzei Sheitim Ha'omdim, Limudei Hashem, Heim Lomedim, Or Mufla, Or Yikodim Meyokedim, Elohema, Yodrucha Morecha, Bar Yochai, Nimshachta Ashrecha, Shemin Sason Mechaverecha, Bar Yochai, Nimshachta Ashrecha, Shemin Sason Mechaverecha. Big finish. All right, that was the musical component of the Weiss Rank family band, and Meital also wants you to know that she was on drums. So I want to talk a little bit about the Jews.
Nice job, Ariana.
So what's the deal? Jews are always celebrating a holiday, preparing for a holiday, or recovering from a holiday. Today is no exception. We are in the middle of a holiday, Lag BaOmer, but what is the deal with Lag BaOmer? There's so much we have to ask when we talk about the reasons for the mourning in the period of the Omer and the reasons for the celebration today. So this talk is going to be everything you didn't want to know about Lag BaOmer. And Lag BaOmer, of course, marks the 33rd day of that period of 49 days between Passover and Shavuot, the holiday of Shavuot. This period of time referred to as the Omer since biblical times, has traditionally, as others have mentioned, been regarded with a time of mourning and sadness, with the exceptions of the days of Shabbat, the new month, and of course today Lag BaOmer. But the question is why? And there isn't actually a very conclusive, centralized answer. One of the enduring mysteries of this time of the calendar is really the lack of a centralized cause for mourning. So I want to explore how over the millennia, our reasons for this period of mourning and this period of celebration have been piled on by our ancestors to add additional dimensions that reflect our own priorities and values of our own times. And each generation seems to contribute to the story, don't touch that, to the story of what it means to celebrate, what it means to mourn. So I'll start with some traditional reasons, which again, I'm sure has come up over the course of this amazing celebration. The first is a reason as old as the Torah. It's the period of agricultural anxiety. Of course, our ancestors, the ancient Israelites, lived in an agrarian society, and that period between the barley harvest of Passover and the wheat harvest, the period between Shavuot and Passover, was one of tremendous concern to farmers because their livelihood really relied on the success and the fate of their crops. And things like chlorosis, even locusts, other forms of pestilence could completely wipe out their chance of the new year being a good one agriculturally. And then following the time of the Second Temple's destruction, another component came on, which was, of course, that feeling of sadness and longing for the temple itself, where we would offer our traditional biblically mandated Omer sacrifice. We could no longer do that. And this sense of lacrimosity, the sense of loss, is reflected by some of our sages in their legal codes. So for example, in the 12th century, Rabbi Zerachiah Halevi talks about how when we count that period of the Omer, each night we count up towards Shavuot from Passover, we don't say the blessing of Shechianu, which we often do with new things, because as he explains, you don't recite Shechianu over that which doesn't bring us joy. So that's another component. Another explanation, which harkens back to earlier, takes place around the year 132 CE with the Bar Kokhba rebellion, the very unfortunately unsuccessful Bar Kokhba rebellion, and thousands of young people are killed in this upheaval. In the Talmud, there's a passing reference to Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students who die in this period between Passover and Shavuot. But interestingly, the earliest source that we have that explicitly links that connection between the Bar Kokhba rebellion and Rabbi Akiva's students, in other words, they might have been part of that rebellion, is not until the turn of the 14th century with the Talmudist HaMeiri coming from Katan. So that's a much later understanding of the weaving of those stories. And then as the years progressed, new layers became unearthed of this time of period of mourning. When we start turning to 1096 to 1146, we have the Crusaders sweeping through Western Europe, and of course, wreaking havoc on the Jewish communities there. And hundreds of communities were destroyed, and hundreds and thousands of Jews died a martyr's death during this period. And it's said that the worst period of the killings were between Passover and Shavuot, again, heightening this layer of mourning. And during this particular layer of history, the liturgical selection Av HaRachaman was added to the weekly Shabbat liturgy between Passover and Shavuot, which is something that keeps with us to this day. And also during this period, certain mourning customs were formalized and became widespread, including not to marry during the Omer. And then yet another layer of tragedy came with the devastation to the Jewish community, in Poland and in Ukraine during 1548 and 1549, when it was believed that the worst part of this violence happened during this time. And it was during that part where really the formal taboo on listening to live music again became strongly entrenched in the community. But wait, there's more. I just mentioned some of the most kosher and traditional explanations. There's of course the non-kosher version, which of course I'll share with you, which is that Lag BaOmer and the Omer period in general actually draw deeply from Roman pagan tradition. That is, there was a period in May when there was a Roman superstition not to marry. And this was again a spring rite. It was called the Limeralia funeral rites, which would appease the departed spirits. And it's fascinating to note that Walpurgisnacht, to those who live in Europe, I'm sure know what this is. Walpurgisnacht, which is still celebrated to this day, the last night of April, is the beginning of this, drumroll please, 32-day period. And so again, another link to a 33-day period of time that involves mourning and superstitious caution. But then comes along today, Lag BaOmer, and we're having weddings, and we're shaving, we're listening to music, and children are engaging in all sorts of frolicking and revelry and relay races and archery. And by the way, Rabbi Rosenblum's demonstration was amazing. I saw that. But the question is, why do we do all these things? Why do we celebrate on Lag BaOmer? So I want to offer a few other theories and layers of history. The most traditional answer is that this is the day on which the plague, which was sweeping through Rabbi Akiva's students, had stopped. A different theory is that the 33rd day of the Omer was a day of victory for the Bar Kokhba rebels. So this is around 132, 135 CE, and hence the whole bow and arrow tradition. But there's no conclusive historical evidence. There's just an oral tradition for this. Okay, so here's another theory. This is a good one. You might have heard of an infamous raucous countercultural rebellion one May in the 60s. And that's right. I'm talking about Lag BaOmer, the year 66 CE, just a few years before the destruction. There was this insurrection against Gessius Florus, the Roman procurator of Judea. And this all went down in May of 66 when Gessius Florus sent down some of his men to Jerusalem to collect from the Israelites 17 bricks of gold. They, of course, refused, stoking the ire of a very, very enraged Florus, who then sent his troops down, and they engaged in a flare-up, and the Israelites actually emerged victorious. They prevailed against the Roman troops, and this was cause for tremendous celebration. This was actually on Lag BaOmer. It was the 18th also of the Hebrew month of Iyar, but because internally the Jews who celebrated this from generations after didn't want the Roman authorities to notice the celebration against them, they called it Lag BaOmer. They referred to it as the Omer instead of the Hebrew date. There's also some far-fetched and fanciful explanations as to why we celebrate Lag BaOmer. One is that this day in the Bible is when the manna started falling from the sky as the Israelites wandered through the desert. And fast forward to the 15th century, and there's a whole new layer added where there's called the Hilula of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, as Cantor, Sarah Myerson mentioned beautifully before. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is a character very much associated with this day because of his Yortzeit, his date anniversary of his death. And he was a tremendous, formidable scholar of the 2nd century. And he also was one of the people in the Sanhedrin who met in secrecy, and with tremendous risk, and ultimately had to flee from the Romans, live out in a cave with his son, and learn Torah for 13 years. And he eventually emerged, and there's this whole wild story about that as well, but he was universally admired, and so this celebration really comes to appreciate him. Tradition has it that he studied the mysteries of the cosmos while in his years of learning, of hermit, living with his son. And what he did laid the foundation for Jewish mysticism of Kabbalah. And so Lag BaOmer became a time when people after his death would do a pilgrimage to his burial site in Meron in northern Israel. And there would be festive dancing and live music, and there'd be bonfires, and there'd be a procession of the people from the nearby city of Sfat who would bring an ancient Torah scroll from the city of Sfat to read during this time. And it was a time of great miracles, and people would give haircuts to children, like we just saw before. And there's other regional hilulas. So for example, in Jerusalem, there's the one of Rabbi Shimon HaTzadik. In Krakow, there used to be one with the Ramah, the Rabbi Moshe Isserles, great 16th century scholar, who also had a Yortzeit, it was said, on Lag BaOmer. So this has become a very special time, but bottom line, if you're a great rabbinic sage, today is a day to watch your back because of so many anniversaries of their deaths. But in all seriousness, many today feel deep connection to Lag BaOmer, maybe deeper than they've ever felt, because this is a time when we're in our own individual cave, so to speak. We're hunkered down in our homes, like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We're thinking inward. We're also today thinking outward. And this is a period when many of us haven't shaved or listened to live music or engaged in, maybe have had to forego certain weddings. And I want to thank Cantor Sarah Myerson, who's like a rabbi and an amazing musician, so much for putting this together, because she's enabled us to come out of our respective caves and listen to music virtually in a way that I think few of us have been able to. It's so beautiful to see this beautiful virtual community that she's created, and so many familiar faces and unfamiliar faces that are all so talented and so lovely and so inspiring. And as always, we're so in awe of everything that she does, and want to just thank her for a real occasion to rejoice. May all of our plagues be removed, may all of our plagues stop, and may all of our suffering be reversed into joy. Happy Lag BaOmer.
Shkoyach, Rabbi Raysh and Snarkwise family. Oh, it's so good to hear your Torah, and I can't believe we haven't seen each other in so long. It's so nice to see you here and to hear you sing, and all of you making music. You have the most musical children. Let's see. So thank you for taking part in this.
Thank you so much for having us. This was awesome.
You're always welcome. I don't know when I'll do this again, if ever, but you are always invited.
We want to get together after this is all over in real life. We miss you guys.
Yeah, we'll have some carob.
There you go. Some carob. That's good. It's a plan.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, so next up, we have the amazing Alejandra Czarny, and she is going to tell you what she is singing.
Hello. Chag Sameach, everybody. I'm so glad to be part of this Lag BaOmer program. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me in. Makes me feel very good. And you know, when I hear Lag BaOmer only brings one song from my memories. It brings it automatically when I think of Lag BaOmer. So this is the song that will come. Kashtenu al shitmeinu, rigleinu ram bayam, layar chavitenu, melech gadol bakar, Hayom Lag BaOmer, 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 Hayom Lag BaOmer. And the same way I have memories attached to the name, only even to the name of this Lag BaOmer, thank you, song, that come all the way from my elementary school at the Bet Sefer Chaim Nachman Bialik in Buenos Aires. I learned that song, but there are no memories attached to Lag BaOmer bonfires in my Jewish education, in my Jewish experience, or maybe it's my memory that's getting a little weaker. So I think that's the first option in this case, but there are many memories in me that are attached to bonfires. And when I think of bonfires, this is the song that will come to me. This is the song. And it is a song that I remember singing in Spanish, and I will sing it to you right now. But before that, I would like to tell you, what does it mean? I tried to find the sources of the song. Where's this song coming from? Sarah asked me that, and I didn't have an answer. Even with Google and all these tools, I couldn't find out. So receive it like this, like part of memories that are in our ears, in our memories. And this is what it means. See how the flames of this bonfire are shining. They give light to our faces and to our hearts. The little rising sparks seem to say, let's get together forever. Let's learn how to live. Como alumbran las llamas de este fogón, iluminan los rostros y el corazón, las chispitas que se elevan parecen decir, unámonos para siempre, aprendamos a vivir. Unámonos para siempre, aprendamos a vivir. So this is the bonfire section of my singing today. So, and then if I keep thinking, right? I told you about like BaOmer, I told you about the bonfires, but when I sadly think about why we cannot meet now around the bonfire, right? For this Lag BaOmer, arum dem fire, o alrededor de una fogata, o around the fireplace, o misaviv medura. The only thing I can think about is this song. And let me tell you about the story of this song, because it's one of the consequences, I would say, of this quarantine, of this being by yourselves at home. So it happened to me that I got a new friend during this time, and it's Moshe Rosenfeld in New York. He wrote this poem about the COVID-19, this, famous virus. So he wrote this poem in Yiddish, and I put music into that. So if you feel like you want to sing along, please, maybe this way we can create kind of energy to make it go away, because this is exactly what the lyrics of the song are saying. Please, COVID-19, please go away. This cholera needs to come to an end. We miss being together with family and friends. May it disappear, not tomorrow, but today. So this is what it's gonna say. So if you feel like singing at least this part, so listen, it goes like this. COVID-19, Gey Shoyn Avek. Soll die Cholera, Shoyn Avek. Es fällt uns stark aus Mischpoche und Verein. Soll es verschwinden, nicht morgen nur heim. Soll es verschwinden, nicht morgen nur heim. A gore neue Sach, was mir leben a Leben, was heißt, nicht kuscheln, nicht geben sich die Hand, mir folgen, befehlen, zu bleiben nicht lieber, statt schmussen mit Freund, Rätsmen zu der Wand. COVID-19, Gey Shoyn Avek. Soll die Cholera, Shoyn Avek. Es fällt so stark aus Mischpoche und Verein. Soll es verschwinden, nicht morgen nur heim. Soll es verschwinden, nicht morgen nur heim. Wir sitzen derweil allein und besonder, nur der Mensch ist gewohnt zu kämpfen und streben, mehr der Mond sich geselber, in Wunder noch Wunder, bestimmt das die Menschheit. Wer das überleben, COVID-19, Gey Shoyn Avek. Soll die Cholera, Shoyn Avek. Es fällt so stark aus Mischpoche und Verein. Soll es verschwinden, nicht morgen noch heim. Soll es verschwinden, nicht morgen noch heim. Soll es verschwinden, nicht morgen nur heim. Okay, so maybe next Lag BaOmer, it's gonna be completely different. Yes, that's what we want, right?
Yes, please God, Mi'ez Hashem.
Mm-hmm.
Shkoyach, that was so beautiful to hear you play.
Oh, thank you. So you have my memories, the three languages experiences.
Yes, that's right. And we won't, I don't think we'll see a bonfire today, but I might make some s'mores with my gas stove later on. So we'll see. We'll see. If
Okay.
there's time later on, I'll show you the marshmallows in the gas stove.
Okay. Okay. You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Yes. I hope someday we can sing together in person.
Yes. Yes. I really want that.
Yes, I hope so. Okay. Amazingly, we are running a little bit ahead of schedule, so I'm going to turn over now. I hope they're ready to the one, the only, the two, the only Leah Kalisch and Rabbi Tobias Moss for Amar Rabbi Akiva.
Great. Thank
Hello, are we on? I guess we are. Yeah, we are. Great.
you. And you said you weren't sure if there'd be a bonfire. We've got a bonfire.
Yeah. Gracias, Alejandra. That was beautiful. Really fun. I wanted to start dancing with you, but in my apartment.
We can still do it. We can still do
We
it.
can still do it. After party.
Yes, yes.
that.
6-hour
Yes.
party and then a 6-hour after party.
Yes, through the night. So we're going to sing Amar Rabbi Akiva, which is a traditional song sung on Lag BaOmer. But we're giving the song a little twist. So there's different versions, and we chose the Shveki version. But we made some changes and some 21st century adjustments. Rabbi, do you want to say anything about the song?
Sure. So you've probably heard over the course of the day a lot about Shimon Bar Yochai, who's sort of the mystical reason why we have this holiday. But his teacher, Rabbi Akiva, there's another story about why that relates to him and is another origin story for the holiday. And Rabbi Akiva was a rabbi that was known for loving compassion. That was like sort of his thing. But somehow 24,000 of his students were in like a constant fight with each other and acting out of sorts. And it's probably a legend, but there was a plague. A plague came and was killing them and killed 24,000 of Rabbi Akiva's students, but finally ceased on Lag BaOmer. And Rabbi Akiva, the words of this song is that Amar Rabbi Akiva, he says very simply, Ashreichem Yisrael, you should be happy, people of Israel. Why? Because you have this connection with God. You're part of this tradition. And that should be enough. Like, stop all the infighting. Please be happy.
Which kind of relates to the times we're in right now. You know, we have this thing like today that brings us together and allows us to celebrate. So it relates. So should we just go?
Let's do it.
Yeah, if you know the song, feel free to just jump in. Unfortunately, we can't hear you, but we'll feel you.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay.
Amar, Amar, Amar Rabbi Akiva, Ashreichem Yisroel. Amar, Amar, Amar Rabbi Akiva, Ashreichem Yisroel. Lifnei mi atem mitarim, umi metaher etchem. אביכם שבשמיים, אביכם שבשמיים. אמר, אמר, אמר רבי עקיבא, אשריכם ישראל. Yo, people, Lag BaOmer is such a weird holiday. The 33rd of Omer, usually the month of May. It's kind of hard to figure out what we're celebrating. Something that the rabbi and me are debating. We remember the death of Shimon Bar Yochai, a mystical giant and the coolest rabbi. Dancing at his grave with fires on fire. Up on my road, they get higher and higher. Omar, Omar, Omar Rabbi Akiva, Ashreichem Yisroel.
are we singing about? Rabbi Akiva, he was Bar Yochai's most important teacher. Had a bunch of students, didn't get along. Plague came along to correct their wrongs. On Lag BaOmer, they were freed from the plague. That's the whole story, it's kind of vague. Not all days get a great celebration. Still we celebrate as the Jewish nation.
Amar, Amar, Amar Rabbi Akiva, Ashreichem Yisroel, Lifnei mi atem itarin, umi metaher etchem, Avichem shebashamayim, Avichem shebashamayim, Lifnei mi atem itarin, umi metaher etchem, Avichem shebashamayim, Avichem shebashamayim. Amar, Amar, Amar Rabbi Akiva, Ashreichem Yisroel.
Ashreichem Israel, that all of you should be happy on this day of Lag BaOmer and find happiness throughout the year, throughout all these times that we're in.
And especially during quarantine.
And I think once we get off this call, we're going to go roast up by the fire
Yeah, because it's freezing here.
in Minneapolis.
Thanks so much for having us. Thank you, Sarah, Cantor Sarah, for organizing this. It's so fun to see everyone. And thanks to everyone who's watching. That's amazing that people are watching and taking time to see what other people are doing. So thanks.
And thank you for being so creative and just, you know, I mean, this is not a part of your regular repertoire for either of you. So I'm so appreciative that you put this together on such short notice. I'm super.
Yeah, we had a lot of fights doing it, so it was worth it.
Fighting is also part of Lag BaOmer, right? You're supposed to fight and then respect each other and then celebrate.
Exactly.
Yeah, idea.
We were reeve in Hebrew.
You should have seen what we were like. I'm very lucky. I have a saintly spouse who supported me through 7 days of organizing a festival of 6 hours and 40 artists.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Amazing.
great. It's amazing. I can't believe we're so on schedule. It's like really Swiss, the Swiss way. So amazing.
I had a German grandmother, and that influence is very strong.
Got it.
Okay.
And also, I
Thank
think it's a Shehechianu moment for me. My first time using the Les Paul for Judaism. So thank you.
Always use the Les Paul for Judaism.
All right, I'm excited.
Thanks.
I'm excited to hear who's next.
Yes.
Yes, our friend.
Wouldn't you know? Next up, the one, the only, Eleanor Biezunski. We actually are featuring 100% of the YIVO Sound Archive staff in this festival. That's Lauren and Eleanor. Eleanor is, she is in Brooklyn also. Brooklyn might have somewhat of an outsized influence on this festival for understandable reasons, but Eleanor, tell us what you're playing. Share your magic with us.
Hi. Well, first I want to thank you because this is really beautiful and lovely, and I'm also like not so familiar with celebrating like BaOmer, and I'm discovering all these stories and amazing performers, and it's just so full of teaching and interesting things and fun things. So this is really great. So as when you asked me to play for this, I looked a little bit and I found out that the very common tune, Klezmer tune, the Romanian Hora, was actually played at the on the tomb of Rabbi Yochanan Hassandler on Lag BaOmer in 1969, and there was a field recording of this, apparently. So I was thinking of starting with that, and then play Sadigurer khosidl, which is from the repertoire of Joseph Moskowitz, the cymbal player, and which I learned from our dear friend Petruszewski, my fellow klezmographer. So I'll start with that. so strange. I'm not seeing anyone. So I also I also wanted to sing a song written by Wolf Yunin and music by Sholom Sekunda. This is a song on I would say a mystical theme of going into the forest at dawn and listening and finding the songs in the bird chants and looking for the tune of nature, and deeper in the woods, deeper the secret that only silence can hold. Maybe, perhaps, God himself has hidden his melody there. So sing softly so that only we can hear. So hat mir mein Tate noch Kind Weiss gesagt, gut ist zu euch stehen, beginnen. Und wer noch ein Herz und ein Neuer vermogt, der wird schon einigen gefinnen. Sing still, go still, as keine Chutz uns soll nicht hören. Und soll uns verwiegen der herziger Nigen, bis eindrimmen werden die Sterne. Ich hab mein Taten dem Klugen gefolgt und seine Werte übernommen. Ich hab auf die Felder beim Vögelchen Volk, dem Nigen, dem schönsten gefinnen. Sing still, go still, as keiner von uns soll nicht hören und soll uns verwiegen der herziger Nigen, bis eindrimmen werden die Sterne. Tiefer in Wälder ist tiefer der Sod, was nur die Stillkeit kann halten. Ich hab Meure zu sagen, nur Ösche hat Gott, dorten sein Nigen behalten. Sing still, go still, as keine Chutz uns soll nicht hören und soll uns verwiegen der herziger Nigen, bis eindrimmen werden die Sterne. Thank you. Is there time for one more?
Of course there's time for one more.
Okay. So I just wanted to play the Chassidische Nigunim that I just fell in love with this couple of tunes. There's a archival recording of those performed by the Boyberiker Kapelle with Berish Katz, who was also recorded by Ruth Rubin, by the way. So this is a Chassidische Nigunim. Thank you. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, Good Yontiv, Happy Lag BaOmer. Eleanor, thank you so much for doing this and for joining us. I'm so glad to hear you play. It's been too long since we've heard each other.
Yes, we should do a stoop jam, socially distanced.
Yes. Are you in Bay Ridge now, or are you back?
Yes, I'm in Bay Ridge.
You're in Bay Ridge. That would be a long walk, but someday maybe we'll be able to...
A bike ride.
A bike ride. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you. And from one excellent Yiddish singing fiddler to another, but across the pond, we're going to turn now to invite Alana Kravitz to share some tunes with us. Alanna has probably more tunes than anyone else because she has a daily tune sharing session, so she must have an extremely large repertoire by now, and she's going to grace us with some beautiful music.
Hello everybody, Chag Sameach. Luckily it's mainly the other people that are playing the nigunim on my show. In fact, Eleanor was one of them, and I was just wishing we were in the same room there so I could accompany her on that beautiful nigun that's also one of my favorites. I've put together a little medley of 3 nigunim now for our little time together. The first one is one that Musa Berlin has been known to play at Moron, so I feel it's very kosher for today. The second one I've just learnt is a Purim nigun, in fact. But, you know, it's a celebration, so I'm going to stick it in there anyway. And then the last one is, it's from the Beregovsky Tish Nigunim Book 4, which is the book that I'm working with 34 other fiddlers at the moment. And we're looking at recording all of them, and every day we have a different fiddler on the show talking about them. So I'm going to just take it away. Here we go. you. So nice to see Eleanor dancing away there.
Thank you. It's so good to hear you play. I love the Anski poster on your wall.
It was an exhibition in the Jewish Museum in Amsterdam when I lived there in the early 90s.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you want to play another tune for us before you go?
Oh, goodness. Oh, I suppose I could. Let me think. Do you want a slow one or a fast one?
Oh, I think a slow one could be nice, actually.
Okay. Well, I'm inspired by the Hasidic tunes that Eleanor was just playing. I'm going to do a little one that... I've heard a Hebrew version. It says the Hasid goes into the woods and he looks at the nature around him and he kicks up his heels and because only fools are sad. So that's quite nice. I feel that in this time when so many of us are on our own in different places, it's nice to feel that burst of nature and the outdoors and the idea of the Hasid on his own out there.
Thank you so much, Ilana. It's so good to hear you. Do you want to tell folks how they can find your tune a day?
Yes, we've got a Niggun a day. If you go to my website, ilanacravitz.com, there is a fulsome explanation of every single player who's coming. We've still got 15 fiddlers and cellists, I think, to come in the second half of May for the lockdown.
Amazing. Amazing work you're doing there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Klezmer, see you all later.
See you around. Okay. So, it is 2 minutes before 3. How do I spotlight? There we go. Ta-da! Okay. Hi, everybody. So, we have a couple of minutes before we start set 4. We're almost halfway through this festival, which is unbelievable, actually. When I started working on it, a 6-hour festival seemed very long, actually. But now we're already halfway through, and it feels like we could go on all night. There's so many amazing artists out there with so much beautiful music and Torah to share. So, to take us up to 3 o'clock, I don't want to be relentless, but if you're just tuning in now, this event is free and open for anyone to watch. And if you would like to make contributions to support all of our artists, you can do so through Venmo at Sarah Myerson and through PayPal, cantorsarahmyerson@gmail.com. I am putting those links into the Facebook video now, hopefully, so that you can see them on the live stream. Okay. There's that anyway. And thank you to all of those who have sent donations in already to support our artists. A lot of people are struggling right now. Not only artists, of course, you know, everyone. Many people are struggling right now. So if you can give, please give. If you need to take, please take. I think that's a pretty good principle. Okay, so to take us up to the next set, I thought I would share another song. I have a really amazing music library, which I've mostly acquired through accident, through people leaving books and me being interested in taking them. So this book I got recently, A Treasury of Jewish Folk Song, Ruth Rubin, and there's a Lag BaOmer song in here. It's called Ashrei Ha'ish, Happy is the Man. It's in Hebrew. And I think, so she doesn't have any information about the source for this. From what I found out online, it's a Hasidic song, and the lyrics are taken from liturgy and from Musar, Jewish ethics, I guess you could call them. So what is the connection here to Lag BaOmer? It mentions Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Rashbi, about whom we've spoken a lot. The Rashbi, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, died on Lag BaOmer, and so one of the ways we're marking Lag BaOmer is by observing his yard site, and it was very important to him that people celebrate and sing songs and dance. So that's one of the reasons we're having this festival. And here is the melody. See if you can pick it up and then sing along with me. Hi dai 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 da dai 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 hi dai dai da da dai dai yum ba dan dai yum da dan da da hi dai dai da da dai 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 hi da dan da da dan da 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 ya da ya da 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 hi da dan da dan da 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 ya da ya da 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 da. Okay, in Hebrew. Ashrei ha'ish shelo chata tzadik hu v'chasid kulo ve'im chata yesh gam slicha v'nislach lo v'nimcha lo Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And there's a singable English translation, so let's give that a go. Jeff Berner, if you're watching, I'd be interested to see what you could do with this. Happy the man who has not sinned, for he is virtuous and just. If he should sin, there still is grace, and he will be absolved, we trust. Not exactly a translation, but you get the idea. Blessed are we, how goodly our fate, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Blessed are we, how goodly our fate, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. That is Ashrei Ha'ish, as cataloged in Ruth Rubin's A Treasury of Jewish Folk Song. Okay, so we are now at 4 o'clock.